in the heart of a sprawling city. A city where people lived in high towers that scraped the sky, where money reigned as king, there was a hidden undercurrent. On the surface, the city gleamed with joy, but beneath, it was filled with greed and unseen strings that pulled people like puppets. Most too blind to notice, a group of friends, all from the same university, had finally completed their exams. Summer vacation stretched out before them like a long, open road. Eager to escape the city's concrete walls, they decided to go camping in the woods, away from deadlines and pressures, in a place where they could simply breathe. The days in the forest were filled with laughter, playful teasing, and the kind of deep conversation that only happens around a campfire under a sky full of stars. They shared their dreams and fears, each one feeling a rare sense of freedom in the wild, far from the city's grip. But that night, as they lay on their backs staring at the sky, something shifted. One of them noticed a shadow lurking at the edge of the trees. It was barely visible in the dim light, just a figure watching silently from the darkness. The air grew thick and still. They blinked, and the shadow was gone. Curious and unnerved, they followed the path into the woods, drawn by a strange sound in the distance. It grew louder with every step, until they found themselves standing before a great waterfall, hidden deep within the forest. The water cascaded down with a power that shook the ground beneath their feet, but it was the surrounding beauty that truly captivated them. Fireflies danced in the night air, illuminating the mist with an otherworldly glow. The scene was enchanting, almost too perfect, but one friend couldn't shake an uneasy feeling. His skin prickled as he looked around, sensing something sinister beneath the beauty. He tried to warn the others, but they laughed it off, too entranced by the waterfall's allure. As he stepped back, trying to quiet his nerves, he caught a glimpse of the shadow again, closer this time. Its form was clearer, more menacing, with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce straight through him. And then, it spoke, its voice a raspy whisper that echoed in his mind.
Sacrifice.
A chill ran down his spine. He turned to warn his friends, but they were lost in the beauty of the place, unaware of the dark presence watching them all. As he looked back, the shadow vanished once again, melting into the darkness as if it had never been there. But the fear lingered, etched into his face, a chill crawling down his spine. While his friends were still entranced by the beauty of the waterfall, oblivious to the growing unease in the air, he saw something else. A procession moving through the trees. Just beyond the mist, a group of cloaked figures, draped in dark robes, appeared from the shadows, their faces hidden. Each one carried a torch, casting an eerie glow that flickered against the night, and their voices rose in a low, haunting chant, a language he didn't recognize, each syllable heavy with an ancient, sinister weight. The man shrank back, hiding in the undergrowth, his heart pounding. He watched as the cloaked figures passed, and then his gaze fell upon one of them, a tall figure holding something close to their chest. As they drew nearer, he realized with a jolt of horror that it was a child, a newborn, wrapped tightly in cloth, its tiny face pale and still, dark. Unsettling thoughts began to whirl in his mind, each one worse than the last. What were they planning to do with the child? Why would they bring it to a place like this, under cover of night? He turned to his friends, hoping they might see the terror in his eyes, but they were lost in laughter, unaware of the nightmare unfolding just beyond the trees. Alone and afraid, he made a choice: to follow the cloaked figures, to learn what they intended, to find out if he could stop whatever horror they were planning. He slipped quietly into the shadows, his footsteps light as he kept his distance. The chanting grew louder, more rhythmic, echoing through the forest as he crept after them. Each step took him further from the safety of his friends and deeper into the unknown. As he ventured deeper into the forest, the shadows grew thicker, and the sounds of the night faded into an eerie silence. Then, in a small clearing, he saw it, a large stone cross, worn and cracked with age, marking a place of dark rituals. His heart pounded as he realized the truth. He had stumbled upon a cult gathering. From a distance, he spotted a massive stone statue looming over the clearing. It was an owl with large, hollow eyes and talons that seemed poised to grasp something unseen. The statue's stone wings cast long shadows in the moonlight, making it appear almost alive. A shiver ran down his spine as he took in the unsettling sight, but before he could process it further, the cloaked figures reappeared, surrounding the statue in a half-circle, their torches casting flickering light over the eerie scene. He watched in horrified silence as the figures raised their arms, their voices rising in a haunting chant. "Oh, Great One, for you, we offer this sacrifice. Thy order has been fulfilled, for we, thy loyal servants, obey without question. The blood of the newborn is what we offer to you tonight." The words sent a chill through him, twisting his stomach with dread. He tried to look away but felt compelled to watch, unable to tear his eyes from the macabre ritual unfolding before him. Then, the cloaked figures lifted their voices in unison, calling upon their god's name, their tone both reverent and fevered. "Moloch, we offer this to you. The owl shall be praised." The air around them felt charged, almost electric, as if some dark power had begun to stir. His breath quickened as he realized the gravity of what he was witnessing. This wasn't just a ritual. It was a sacrifice. Desperate to stop them, he struggled with the overwhelming fear that gripped him. His friends were back at the campsite, blissfully unaware, while he stood alone at the edge of something ancient, malevolent, and hungry. However, in his panic, he made a fatal mistake. A branch snapped beneath his foot, echoing through the stillness of the night. Every hooded figure turned, their dark eyes fixing on him, the intruder who had shattered their sacred moment. The figure holding the child snarled, his voice a venomous hiss. "Who dares disturb this holy rite?" The man's blood ran cold as the realization struck him. He had been seen. His mind screamed at him to run, but his legs felt like lead for a heartbeat too long. Then, with a burst of adrenaline, he turned and bolted into the forest, his footsteps pounding as he ran for his life. Behind him, the cult members gave chase, their movements swift and relentless, like shadows that couldn't be outrun. Branches scratched his face and thorns tore at his clothes, but he didn't dare slow down. He had to escape. He had to warn his friends. But as he broke through the trees and stumbled back toward the campsite, his heart plummeted. His friends were already there, captured, held to the ground by cloaked figures, each with a dagger pressed to their throats. Their eyes were wide with fear, their faces pale in the torchlight. "No!" he cried, his voice breaking. He fell to his knees, pleading, "Please, let them go. They've done nothing. I'll do anything you ask. Just let them go." One of the cult members stepped forward, his hood casting deep shadows over his face, but his voice dripped with malice. "You've seen things you were never meant to see, and to preserve our secrets, no one will ever find your remains." The man's breath hitched, terror gripping him as he looked into the hollow, pitiless eyes of the cultist. He could feel the weight of those words, a promise of death, whispered like a curse beneath the moonlight. As the cultists made their way back to the statue of Moloch, the owl's stone eyes began to glow, casting an eerie light over the clearing. Shadows danced across the faces of the cloaked figures, but their leader stepped forward, his voice echoing with a cold, unwavering authority. "For generations, we have been here," he intoned, his words dripping with arrogance. "And for generations to come, we shall remain. We pull the strings of the pitiful masses, control the tongues of those who speak, silence those who would defy us. This place is sacred, hidden, where none shall uncover our ways, for we already rule from the shadows. Resistance is futile. Moloch demands his offerings, and tonight, we shall give him much to be pleased with." He turned toward the terrified group of friends, now held firmly by the cultists. Their faces were pale, eyes wide with horror. Desperation clung to them as they struggled, but it was no use. They were bound, and the ritual had already begun. One by one, they were dragged to the altar of flames. Their screams tore through the night, echoing through the forest, only to be swallowed by the roar of the fire. The flames consumed them, casting a fiery glow that reached the towering trees, as if Moloch himself were hungrily watching from above. As the last screams faded into silence, the leader of the cult turned back to his followers. His eyes gleamed with a dark satisfaction, but his voice was calm, almost reverent. "A new dawn awaits us," he said, addressing the cloaked assembly. A dawn where we shall hold all power, where humanity will not question our authority. For every curious mind that seeks to uncover our ways, we shall silence 100 more. Soon, they will learn the truth, that to challenge us is to fight against the very fabric of the world. The cult members nodded in unison, their faces hidden, their loyalty unwavering. In the shadows cast by the glowing eyes of Moloch, they stood as one, bound by a secret that no one beyond the forest would ever know. And so it was done. But know this is no ordinary tale, for it reflects a shadow of reality itself. Who are those that seek to control the lives we possess, dictating what we can and cannot do? Those who sit on the thrones of power, corrupted to the very core of their souls. What would they do if someone uncovered their disgraceful acts? Without hesitation, they would silence any voice that dared to rise against them. So let your soul and spirit remain vigilant, for it is said, "The owl sees and hears all, and nothing escapes its watchful gaze." Beware those who pull the strings from the shadows, for their influence reaches farther than any tongue can speak.